Is this being and then yes, o noches. Well, good evening. Thank you all for being here. We're very excited to welcome you to the district, welcome you to the NUSD family, to the familia. We're excited. If you are a TK parent, that means that your student will graduate in the year 2032, class of 2032, and kindergarten will be the class of 2031, class of 2031. Sounds a little like, wow. But yes, so that's our goal. So our goal is that we get them there, whatever it takes, so that they get their high school diploma and that they have many choices after they graduate, whether they want to go to college, go work, the military, whatever they want to do, but that they have choices. That's our goal here for the next 13 years, 14 years, yeah. So I'm Ivan Chaidas. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Education Services. We have an awesome team here. We have an agenda that's going to go by really quick. And I know that Michelle will probably mention this earlier, but this is being televised, and it's also on YouTube. So if people are not here, they can watch it on YouTube, and it's being televised live. So smile. All right. So we have also interpretation happening. So tonight we'll meet the team, our coordinator of student services, Karen Valentine. You'll hear from our coordinator of elementary, Michelle Stevens. You'll hear from one of our awesome kindergarten TK teachers, Janice Pack, to exactly what happens in TK and K. I also want to thank Sid Ornelas, who's here. She's the Chief Business Officer for the Novato Charter School, in case there's any questions about the Novato Charter School. And I think I saw one of our school board members here, Debbie Butler. Right there she is. There's Debbie. Thank you for being here. And there's a lot of information out there. One piece of information that I just put out there was a brochure in Spanish and English regarding the dual immersion program that's coming this fall for TKK1 at Linwood Elementary, which we will discuss as we go. So let's just jump in to the agenda. So again, welcome. So tonight we're going to focus a little bit on the curriculum and standards, what exactly happens in TK and K, what's the difference or the similarities between both grades. We also are going to present briefly information on dual immersion program that's starting this fall over at Linwood Elementary. It's going to be really cool program there. And then we'll go into detail about that. Karen will go over registration information, enrollment, intra-district process, and then most importantly, time for you to ask questions. We really want to save a lot of time for your questions. So our presentation is going to go really quick because we know that you're a little bit nervous and you want to ask questions. All right, so let's jump in. I want to bring up Michelle Stevens, our coordinator of elementary education. Michelle.
Thank you, Yvonne. Welcome, everybody, and I'm excited to be here tonight. This has been a true collaborative effort between instruction and innovation. That's the department that I work in, and student services, and also our wonderful teaching staff who will be sharing some information tonight. So our goal is to really inform you. This presentation, the slides, will also be posted on our district website. So you don't need to worry about taking pictures of the slides. Everything we talk about here tonight will be available online as well. Also, if you go to the district website under registration, you'll see all the contact information for myself, for Karen Valentine. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can just look for us there. Also, please make sure that you sign in on that front table that's out there. And if you'd like, we do ask for your email. And the reason is we send out a follow-up survey asking you what more questions you have, what you would have liked to see. Every year we try to make this presentation better and improve it. So we do listen to you and take your feedback. Also at that table is our school fuel representative. And she will tell you a little bit more. Please pick up a flyer on all the wonderful programs that School Fuel promotes for us and funds. So they fund a lot of our enrichment programs, and we're so very lucky to have them as part of our school support system. So I'd also like to introduce Janice Pack. It is my absolute pleasure. Janice has been in the district for 21 years as a TK and kindergarten teacher. She is truly an expert. And so we wanted to bring her in tonight so that she can give you a brief presentation, but then also answer those programmatic questions and instructional questions that you might have. So welcome, Janice.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everybody. It's good to see you. I'm really excited to share a little bit about the great opportunities for your incoming TK or kindergartner. Welcome to Nevada Unified. As Michelle said, I've been here for 21 years. It's a fantastic place for kids, and we're happy to be partnering with you for your child's educational career. TK programs vary from site to site, so what you'll see is different bell schedules. First of all, some sites do things with on an extended day where kids start in the morning, stay through lunch. Other kids do like a half and half, early bird, late bird with staggered schedules. So that's going to be very site specific. So you'll want to talk to your local neighborhood school regarding a specific bell schedule. However, that daily schedule is really going to include a lot of different instructional strategies. We really consider the fact that children are 4 and 5 and 6 when they walk in our doors, and they need a lot of movement and they need a lot of play. So you'll see a lot of developmentally appropriate practices, inquiry-based education, communication, talking to each other, exploring, hands-on, indoor and outdoor play in your TK and kindergarten program. Our TK and kindergarten programs are based on the California state standards, so they're very, very rigorous. Over the last few years, we've seen increasing standards that are more challenging and really meet the needs of students in today's world, the kinds of skills they need to be able to work with one another, collaborate with each other, problem solve, and they're very relevant to the real world. We do a lot of project-based learning that's happening in schools, and so introducing those skills to students as early as 4 is happening in our classrooms, and it's an exciting way to learn, and it really makes learning meaningful for children. So those skills and that kind of rigor and high-level critical thinking starts from the very beginning and follows them all throughout their career here at Nevada Unified. Academics for TK and K. We have an opportunity to offer TK here. Many districts, may or may not offer it any longer for those children who turn 5 in the fall. We're very lucky to have that here in Nevada Unified, and we use the Golden TK year for those children who are eligible to give them an experience that's a little bit beyond preschool. However, we take into account that not everybody's going to preschool. They may be coming straight from home. So it gives them an introduction to those beginning skills. They're learning to count things and sort things. We tell stories when we do our math. We're starting those early literacy skills, lots of songs, lots of chants. We're learning our alphabets, learning how to write those letters and recognize our name. we're strengthening gross and fine motor skills. There's a lot of manipulative play, picking things up with our fingers and moving things around and counting things out. Also the gross motor play, getting outside instead of just swiping a device. We're climbing and we're skipping and we're hopping because all of those things build the overall strength of a child's abilities. Definitely playing encourages a lot of cooperation, communication, and asking questions that really tap into that 4- and 5-year-old curiosity. And the big one is once they're starting school, it's so different than preschool or home. So we're really working with children to develop their focus, their ability to sit and listen to a story, their ability to look somebody else in the eye and pay attention to you, to have stamina for work time and patience. And in TK, we take this program. It's a 2-year kindergarten program. In kindergarten, it's compressed into 1 year. And so don't feel like if your child is in one program or the other that they're missing out. It's just that we find those young 5s really need that time developmentally. And now that we've been into the program for several years, we're really seeing the difference at the end. Instead of sending off a really little, person to 1st grade and they may not quite be mature enough yet, this TK year, if you choose to send them to that, really allows them to be more mature and able to handle the demands of big, 1st grade play on that yard. And you see in kindergarten, you're taking all of these skills and they're applying them more and more than the TK students are. They're reading, they're writing, they're solving problems with more and more independence. Social and emotional development is huge for your kindergartner as they come in. So some of the things that we are looking at are making sure that we're really interacting with children, talking with them instead of at them, reading to them, playing games, getting down on the floor and doing blocks with them, talking about your shared interest. One of the things that parents can do right now is start play dates, whether it's somebody you know or whether it's just somebody they happen to bump into at the park, developing those friendships, noticing what other people like to play and approaching someone by saying, hey, can I join you? Those are all things that you can be doing right now and that we're going to be doing in their kindergarten year. The other one is developing a sense of independence and responsibility. So giving children guided choices right now so that they, as you send them off into school, are able to make some really smart, positive choices on their own. So how can you help your child get ready for this experience? The first thing is just to develop a growth mindset and a sense of perseverance. Some children have things that come so easily to them so that when they come to something that's new, they give up so quickly. We always wanted to be good at something yesterday, right? And so showing your children how you work through things that you're learning is a great, great example to set for your kids. How you really stick it through, you set goals and you achieve them. Focusing on that hard work and the persistence. And we want to make sure that we're really recognizing our child's effort. I see how hard you worked on that. What do you feel about what you've accomplished, rather than just saying, good job, you're so smart. Because if you tell them they're smart when they accomplish something and then they don't next time, it really damages their thinking about themselves and their abilities. Change those statements to, instead of I can't do it, oh, you can't do it yet, but we'll keep working on it. I also wanted to share just a link here. It's called parenttoolkit.com. It's one that I share with my families at home. It's fantastic because it starts with the early education experience. There's different pages for you as you go through early elementary, elementary school, middle school, high school, and beyond high school. And it has a lot of great resources to support your child academically, socio-emotionally, and in all those different subject areas. So it's something that you can take a look at as you prepare your child for school. So we really look forward to seeing you in the fall. And I'd like to introduce one of our principals, Andy Klein, who is here to talk about the Spanish-English dual immersion class at Linwood School.
Thank you, Janice. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I put my coat right back on because I'm going to be that fast. I'm going to be like 2 or 3 minutes and I'm out of your way, okay? But I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk a little bit about our dual immersion program that we're obviously really excited to launch at Linwood. It starts this coming August. It is, as you can see up on the screen there, specifically for TK, kinder, and first graders. We're looking to achieve a 50-50 balance, roughly, of the number of native English and Spanish speakers that we have in our classrooms. There is room for other languages. So if you speak a language other than Spanish or English at home, I don't want to discourage you in any way from feeling like this is something that you could pursue potentially if you are excited about it for your child. We are operating within the Linwood boundaries as we start this first, so that means that families within the Linwood boundary have first crack at it. And then there will undoubtedly be opportunities for families from the greater part of Novato to also help fill in our numbers there as well. So anyhow, we're very excited about it. It's a 90-10 Spanish-English model. So that means that 90% of the instruction is going to occur for TK, kinder, and first grade, since those are all entry-level grade possibilities for students first starting in elementary school, will be in Spanish. 10% of their instruction will be in English. That's done very intentionally, and that's why we have that blend of about 50-50 native Spanish and English speakers as well, because there's good research behind this being, as I wrote up there, one of the ones that provides the longest or the largest long-term cognitive benefits to kids. We start to see students who stick with these kind of programs through 5th grade catch and surpass their peers academically by the time they reach about 5th or 6th grade level. And then it also is the most likely way to maintain bilingual and biliterate ability into adulthood as well. So we've done actually around 3 to 4 years of research has gone into launching this. It's been a lot of cooking in the kitchen behind the scenes, and we're really excited to start bringing it out, this coming August as well. The final thing I want to say is if you'd like to learn more, I'm just the teaser tonight, then we encourage you to come on December 11th. We have a community-wide meeting at Linwood at 6 p.m. So please come join us. That would be a wonderful time to learn more about the possibilities there that might open up for your child or for your family if you believe it could be a way you want to go. You can also check out our website. If you go to nusd.org and just scroll down a little bit from the main page, you'll see a little globe that says Dual Immersion Initiative. Click on that, and there's a lot of different information items on there as a parent. Probably the most compelling one I would recommend as a mom or a dad if you're going, what is this? Or maybe I'm excited by the idea, but it sounds really a little too edgy for me or something. Listen to the podcast that is a parent who was interviewed and their child was entering a New York City Mandarin English dual immersion program, and it's really, very genuine. It's very sincere. You can tell this mom is still even questioning, even the day before school starts, like, did I do the right thing by my daughter? And by the end of the year, she is absolutely head over heels with the experience that her child has had in the program. And we have worked really hard going slow so we could eventually go fast with this so that we have the program set up well for you right out of the gate. If you'd like to join us for a tour, we actually have a couple tours coming up this month here, this coming Friday the 1st, as well as the 15th. We do those, they're found on the Linwood website if you want to look at our calendar. And so I encourage you to call Linwood Elementary if you're interested in being a part of our tours, and we can talk a lot more there in detail about any specific questions you may have as well. We're looking to start with 1 TK class, 2 kinder classes, and 2 first grade classes. And this will be for the whole school eventually. It'll roll up each year. And so that all of Linwood, by the time we get to the 22-23 school year, will be entirely dual immersion. It's not side-by-side classrooms like a traditional class next to a dual immersion class. Entire school, culturally, will go that way. I think that's all I had. So thank you so much for letting me come and give you a little commercial.
So now I'd like to introduce Karen Valentine, who is our Coordinator of Student Services, and she'll be sharing a little bit about the registration nuts and bolts, all those pieces that you need to register your child.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. I am the Coordinator of Student Services, and Student Services encompasses all students, so all the way from TK up into adult ed students. So in order for your child to be eligible for kindergarten, their 5th birthday on or before September 1st of 2018, so the coming year. Transitional kindergarten is the 5th birthday between September 2nd and December 2nd of 2018. So those are the age ranges for when they'd be available for to register for school. So one of the things that we do have is we have something that's called an intra-district transfer, and that's different than an inter-district transfer. An inter-district transfer would be like if you lived in San Rafael School District and were then applying to come to the Novato School District. The intra-district transfer is you're within the Novato School District boundaries, but you want to go to a school that's other than your neighborhood school. And that's when you would put in the form to make out the intra-district transfer. Those are due by the first Monday in March, and this time it's going to be March 5th, 2018, to the Student Services Office. So you have to have a registration packet at your school site. Your neighborhood school site has to have that registration packet first before you make out the intra-district transfer. And then once you get the registration packet in, you can make out the transfer, and then that comes over to our office. You can only choose one school at a time. So if you're at Rancho and you want to go to Pleasant Valley, you can only make it out for one. And then if you don't get into Pleasant Valley but decide you want to go to Loma Verde or something else, you have to make out another transfer. You have to rescind the first one and then make out another one. So the placement is based on enrollment numbers. So one of the things that happens is the papers come in. If there's room at the school, then we go ahead and grant the transfer. If not, then there is a lottery process that happens. So we have three types of lists. We have the on-time list, which goes through the lottery process. The numbers are randomized. Numbers are picked at a random rate, and then we notify people of their placement. We have, if everyone who has applied for a position in a school, but the school has filled up, we have what's called an on-time wait list. So those are people who submitted their application on time but didn't get the school of their choice, but they're going to go on to a wait list. And then we have another wait list called a late wait list. So those are ones that come in after the March 5th deadline, but they go on a wait list as well. So that's the process that we go through. It's kind of a long, kind of complicated, but people do go on the wait list. We understand that there is movement. Sometimes people move, jobs get transferred, families decide to go someplace else. So that's why we maintain the wait list throughout the year. Kind of went over the lottery process and the timeline on that. So then we also, we notify people, and then once we notify you, you're given 24 hours in which to accept or say, no, I'm happy to stay at the school that I'm at. So the registration packets are going to be available December 1st, 2017. They're going to be both available at your neighborhood schools and on the website. So you can go to your neighborhood school, pick up the packet. It's a little thick packet, but it has a lot of paperwork in there that you have to fill out and then present to the school. And the sites will begin accepting enrollment then. When you register your child, you have to have their birth certificate. So you're going to need a copy of their birth certificate, their immunization record, and the personal belief exemption is no longer accepted. The state of California passed that they no longer accept the personal belief exemption. And you have to have two forms of address verification. So that would be a utility bill, rental agreement, anything that shows your address. So like a cell phone bill, any of that kind of stuff, that would be a verification of your address. Oh, dropped a paper. And so the required forms for registration, you need the student registration form, the declaration of residency, which is going to be one of the papers in the packet, and with that also you have your proof of residency. Oral health assessment, which is completed by a dental professional, and that happens within the first year, so you don't have to have that exactly right when you go into the registration, but it happens within the first year. You can have that done. The student health appraisal, and that comes from your doctor. Your doctor is going to say that your child is healthy, and a report of the health examination for school entry. So you have to provide that when you go through the registration packet, and that's in the whole packet. Okay, and now it's time for questions.
Oh, excuse me. So what we're going to do, because this is televised, we need to record your questions. So we've set up that mic over there. And what we'd like you to do is just queue up about 5 people at a time. So when you see people sit down and you still have a question, you can head up there. That's the only way we can capture your voice. I don't have a microphone. I can't do the Phil Donahue thing and run around with it. So, gosh, he's not even on anymore. I so just dated myself with that. Isabel, would you mind hitting the little button on that to turn that microphone on? And please don't be shy. Once you get up next to the microphone, it's a lot of fun, I guarantee it. So come on up and please, we're here to answer your questions. Come on, you can do it. Love it.
How and when and if you use it at all is technology introduced, and what does that look like?
I love that. I'm going to defer that question to Janice Pack.
There we go. So the technology piece is going to be, it's going to vary from site to site. For the most part, we do have district technology goals and standards, and so in kindergarten is when they start, and they usually involved being able to access a program and navigate their way through, and depending on your site and the curriculum that they have set up for their classroom, it's going to vary from using desktop computers to do various activities, maybe some drawing tools, for example. There's others that are using tablets, so they may do different things with the tablets. It really depends on what the site has committed to purchasing and then how it's rolled out into the schools. But there is definitely that goal as you go through the school year that there's use of the technology at an age-appropriate level.
And our teachers are also very aware of screen time. Mm-hmm. And we try to gear screen time so that it's less when the students are younger, and then it gradually increases throughout the grade levels. And it's not a filler. All our activities using devices are very intentional. And you'll even see that. I hope that some of you have been able to take tours of your neighborhood school. But as you're touring around, you'll see different uses of technology in the classroom. So, hi.
Hi. Can you talk a little bit about how after-school care works? I know a lot of schools do things through the Y, just kind of how that's set up and when registration would begin for that.
So that is actually a whole another component. So what we would have to do in order to speak to that is invite all the after-school care providers. And because it's different at each site, we don't have the time in this one evening to do that. So what I encourage you to do, because it is different at every site, is to contact the daycare provider on that site. And really connect with them and find out what their schedule is and how it would work as far as picking your child up from school after they finish their day and things like that. And I apologize that I am aware that that's a burning question for a lot of parents, but unfortunately, because each program's different at every site, we're not able to corral all that information for you. So, hi.
Why is it that December 2nd is the cutoff for TK, not December 31st?
So December 2nd is the cutoff date because that is state mandated, and that is what we consider as being funded. So if a child is 5 before December 3rd, so they turn 5 on December 2nd, we receive full funding for that child from the first day of school. Once we get to December 3rd, we lose all that funding and we're only funded on December 3rd. So the way that our district is set up is that creates a funding deficit. And with declining enrollment and our budget cuts, we do not have the finances to fund that component. Did you want to add something?
No,
Okay.
I would agree.
Did that answer your question? Okay.
Could you talk a little bit about the districts, with everything that's going on, about the district's emergency preparedness with a lot of the schools, and mainly, like, is there just one kind of director overseeing most of what's happening, or one superintendent?
So I don't know if Karen, if you're aware of the emergency preparedness, but our communications officer, Leslie Benjamin, she works with the emergency preparedness team, and they work with the site coordinators to design a program that is specific for each site. Evacuation procedures, phone trees, how you would activate, I guess, in case of an emergency. And so every site is in charge of running through their emergency procedures and tests. So it's happening monthly at every school. So each school has their own schedule for when they're doing it. So you really should connect with your neighborhood school. The office manager should have that information. And that's actually a really great question to ask when you're on the tour as well.
Yeah, actually, thank you. I actually toured one school. I'm not going to actually name it, but I noticed it was a very large school and it didn't have any type of security. So that kind of, as a parent, that had me a little, borderline of worried about, like, my kids. And it was more relied on the internal staff to be the security and volunteers of the school. So it's just something kind of concerns. So I'm wondering, will the district eventually have police officers or hired security for all the schools with everything that's going on and getting worse, basically, in the news?
So I cannot speak to that. I don't have that information, but that is certainly something that you can follow up with Leslie Benjamin. As I said, she's our communications officer, and she would be aware of that. And I apologize for not being in the know about what our future procedures will be, but I don't see that. We do contract with North Bay Security, and I know that teachers and staff at every school, we do have them programmed into our speed dial, and they're continuously out at sites. They're not identifiable. They wear a jacket, but they are out and present at our sites, and they visit all sites. And I recently, when I was subbing as a principal, I saw them 2 and 3 times a week out at the site. So they are a presence. They're just not visible unless you know what to look for. So, yeah.
Hi. I just have a question about vaccines, because can I do the registration form if my little one will not have all the vaccines by the registration time, but he will have them all by the time, because we're going very slowly.
Absolutely.
By the time he starts school. So I can do the registration form.
Absolutely. And I would encourage everyone, do not wait for your vaccines to turn in your paperwork. You want to get your paperwork in, and they will accept it. And then when your child is immunized and you have that recent vaccine list, then bring that in. It just has to be turned in, I think, the day before school. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. What is the registration process for those of us in the Linwood area who are not interested in participating in the dual immersion program?
Okay, so is Andy Klein still here?
There is an opt-out process, and that information will be available too, so that we will have a form where that you can fill in that you would choose, you opt out of the program, and you'll have the ability to prioritize what schools you'd want to choose other than Linwood. And there's a form that's going to be available on our district website for that.
Okay, so it's not in the packet if I go to
No,
Linwood?
it's not in the packet. It would be on it'll probably be on the website. They may have one at the school site. I'm not sure about that, but I can look into that and find out. But I know that we'll have it available on the website, and would make sense to have it available at the school site as well. So I can suggest that.
And we still have to return our packets to Linwood?
You would, at this point, yes, because that way it'll still, you'd have your registration packet at your home school, but you'll also have that opt-out packet too, or that opt-out sheet prioritizing what school you want to choose. Linwood, for the dual immersion, is the only site that's going to be able to make multiple choices for schools that they want to, and they'll be able to prioritize that. That's the only site that's going to have that availability.
So the opt-out is turned in separately from the registration, or?
Yes.
Good question. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the registration packet gets turned into the site, your neighborhood school. And I'm not sure, I know the registration packets are going to become available December 1st. I don't think that the intra-district transfer or the opt-out is going to be up on the website by December?
It might be.
Okay.
It might be.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact dates, but it might be available by then. And what I can do is also suggest that we have that there at the school site available for the families that want to do that too.
Okay,
And just to clarify a little bit about what Karen said, when you opt out, you are able to prioritize the schools that you're interested in, but it's on a space available basis. So you're not guaranteed, if you put a certain school as number 1, you're not guaranteed a spot at that school. It's only as space is available, and then it rolls down to number 2, number 3, and so forth.
But you're guaranteed a spot somewhere.
Yeah, yes. We will make you a spot somewhere. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know in previous years there's been a Kinder Academy summer program for children who did not have preschool. Can you speak to that, if there's going to be something like that available this year?
So, do you want to? Park and Rec? I think it is through Park and Rec, and it's done when they get teachers who are willing to teach that class. So I would check the Park and Rec schedule to see what they have coming up with that. So it's really dependent on teachers who are willing to teach it. So, yeah.
Hi, I just had a follow-up question about the TK cutoff age. So I understand after December 2nd, you're no longer funded. So would a child, say, born on December 11th, wouldn't even be able to apply for the program? Okay.
And I know that's disheartening to a lot of people who don't make that cutoff date. And unfortunately, that's the way our board has interpreted the state, and because we don't have the financial resources at this time to fully fund extending that date out. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions?
Hi. This may vary school site to school site, but I'm curious the policy on homework in the younger grades.
I would agree that that is a site-dependent decision. I understand that there are some sites who, as a whole, have a no homework or limited online type of homework setup. So that is going to depend depending on your homeschool.
Okay, thank you.
I do know that a lot of sites encourage reading as the homework. So when they're in TK and K, the reading with a grown-up is critical, and that is part of the expected daily time. Yeah. Great. Good questions. Anything else out there? Any other burning questions? Great. Well, thank you so much for coming out this evening, and we're so excited to be taking your kids in for TK and K. And again, go on the website if you have any other questions. Thanks.